I can tell you that I did speak with a few people, but there were messages upon messages online pouring out of love and memories and thank yous of Michael Brown, who owns Sloppy Chops behind me. They're getting the message of his death rocking the community all throughout Detroit. Let's take a good look at him because he is beloved and missed by so many. This is Michael Brown, also known as Mike B. That's what many people called him, both in his restaurants and outside the restaurants. He was known for Sloppy Chops and Sloppy Crab. Those were his establishments, his places, and many say that the food was good, but it was his heart. That's what stood out the most. Detroit police say 3 people were shot at 4:30 in the morning on Saturday on Pilgrim Street and Schaefer Highway. Mike B, again, as many people called him, died of his injuries. Messages, as I said, have been pouring in since it all happened, saying he was a great father, great husband, and overall mountain of a man.
Very well loved, respected. He was an asset to our community. He fed us good. He even went past food to do community service and to help community organizations and people. No one could be hungry around him, could be in need around him.
He stood up and supported the community, specifically around hunger. He always did things to make sure that people had food, that he would say that there's no young person that's going to be hungry as long as I'm around. So he would do things. And then I remember either it was last year or the year before last that there was a tragic thing that happened at one of his restaurants, and he was just there 10 toes down for that person and that family and that community.
So many people posting, sharing memories just like you heard there. Now, police tell us that they are looking for the suspects, and they're asking anyone with tips and information to please reach out to them as soon as possible. Call 1-800-SPEAK UP. It is all anonymous. Reporting live here in Detroit, Lauren Edwards, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, Lauren, do we know much about this investigation? We know that there were 3 people hurt and are shot, rather. Do we know if he was an intended target in all of this and why?
And that's a question we're all asking at this time. The investigation is very early in its stages. I reached out to DPD asking just for an update. And again, all they could tell me is that the investigation is ongoing. But again, if anyone knows anything, please let the police know.
Let me ask you something real quick. What if you woke up one morning, grabbed your phone, and saw that someone you knew, someone your whole city loved, was gone? Just like that. No warning. No goodbye. Just gone. That is exactly what happened to Detroit on the morning of February 28, 2026. And if you think this is just another shooting story, I need you to stay right here, because this one hits different. Michael Brown. Most people knew him as Mike B. And if you were from Detroit, if you ever pulled up to one of his spots, if you ever sat down and tasted his food, if you ever saw him moving through the community with that energy he carried, then you already know this man was not just a business owner. He was Detroit. He was the heartbeat of the West Side in ways that most people will never fully understand until something like this happens. Mike B. was 52 years old. He started out as a party promoter, which honestly tells you everything you need to know about the kind of man he was. He understood people. He knew how to bring them together. He had that rare gift where everywhere he went, the room just changed. The energy shifted. People felt welcomed. People felt seen. And somewhere along the line, that gift turned into something bigger. He took everything he knew about building community, and he poured it into food. In 2020, right in the middle of a global pandemic, when most people were shutting down and playing it safe, Mike B. opened Sloppy Chops on West McNichols, just off the Lodge Freeway. Think about that for a second. The world was falling apart, and this man decided to open a steakhouse. Not because it was the smart financial move, but because he believed in Detroit. He believed his community needed somewhere to go. Somewhere to feel normal. Somewhere to eat good food at a price that didn't make you feel like you had to choose between a meal and your bills. Sloppy Chops became known for high-end cuts, your ribeyes, your tomahawks, but what really put it on the map was the lamb chop special. Affordable. Delicious. Packed every single time. And that was Mike B., in a nutshell. He could have gone upscale and turned his back on the everyday people. But he never did. He then expanded and opened Sloppy Crab, building a small empire rooted in community and love. Dr. Sabrina Jackson, someone who knew him personally, said Mike B. made sure young people in his community never went hungry. Let that land. This man was running businesses, building a brand, raising a family, and still making sure the kids around him were fed. Pastor Maurice Hardwick, founder of the Live in Peace movement, said it simply. Detroit loves him. And Detroit did. Detroit really did. Now here is where the story takes a turn. And I need you to stay with me because this part is important. February 28, 2026. A Saturday morning. Most of Detroit is asleep. The city is quiet. But outside of Suite 100, a cocktail bar sitting on Schaefer Highway near Puritan Avenue on the west side, the night is still going. And at approximately 4:30 in the morning, shots ring out. 3 people are hit. 3 people. Detroit police respond to the scene at 15789 Schaefer, and what they find is something that shakes the entire community to its core. 2 of the victims are found right in front of the bar. The 3rd victim is found across the street. That 3rd victim is Mike B. And unlike the other 2, he does not survive. Now I want you to think about that for a second. The man who spent years building safe spaces for his community, restaurants, gatherings, places where people could come together and just live, takes his last breath outside of a bar at 4:30 in the morning. On a Saturday, when the city should have been resting. That contrast alone should make you feel something. The 2 other victims who were shot that night survived. But here is the thing that will make your skin crawl a little. As of right now, those 2 survivors have not been publicly identified. We do not know their names. We do not know their condition beyond the fact that they survived. We do not know if they saw the shooter. We do not know if they talked to police. Nothing. Their identities have been kept completely out of the public eye. And that raises a question, doesn't it? Why? Were they witnesses? Do they know something? Are they scared to talk? Because in a case like this, the people who were standing right there when it happened are literally the closest thing to answers that this investigation has. And right now, those people are silent. What we do know is that Detroit police have confirmed there have been no arrests. No suspects have been named publicly. No motive has been officially released. The investigation is open. The case is active. And the streets of Detroit are watching. Now the community response to this has been something else entirely. New Era Detroit came out almost immediately calling on the city to take a hard look at after-hours establishments and how long businesses in residential neighborhoods are allowed to stay open. Because Suite 100 was not just a bar, it was operating in the middle of a neighborhood. A West Side neighborhood where families live, where people sleep, where kids grow up. And something happened there at 4:30 in the morning that took a father, a husband, and a community pillar away from the people who needed him most. Pastor Hardwick echoed that sentiment. He made it clear that an ordinance cracking down on late-night operations was likely coming. And honestly, can you blame them? This is bigger than one night. This is a conversation Detroit has been needing to have for a long time.
You couldn't be hungry around him. No one could be in want. Just had a very genuine, gentleman personality. Just a real Detroiter.
And right now, that's how friends are remembering Detroit restaurant owner Michael Brown, better known as Mike B. He was killed in a triple shooting outside a West Side bar over the weekend. Now, as friends mourn, some community leaders are renewing calls for the city to crack down on after-hour spots.
The triple shooting happened around 4:30 a.m. Saturday outside Suite 100 near Finkel and Schaefer, and 2 other people survived. Detroit police are still looking for a suspect. Lauren Kostick joins us live. And Lauren, one person who knew him says Mike B. was just the kind of guy who always made sure people were taken care of.
That's exactly right. It's clear how much he meant to this community. So many people are posting on social media, sharing memories and honoring his legacy. Also, at the same time, Detroit police here at the 2nd Precinct are trying to find the person or people responsible for this triple shooting. And community leaders are saying this shooting is also raising a lot of questions about bars after hours. A father and successful business owner shot and killed over the weekend in Detroit.
Detroit loves him. He was a real Detroiter who was about people, community, and about uplifting life.
Michael Brown, better known as Mike B., was shot Saturday morning around 4:30 outside Suite 100 near Finkel and Schaefer on the city's west side. 2 others were hurt but survived. As of Monday, no one has been arrested. Mike B. was a staple in Detroit's hospitality and entertainment scenes for decades, known for his restaurants including Sloppy Chops and Sloppy Crab. Messages and memories have been pouring in on social media, including this tribute from a local restaurant critic calling the news heartbreaking. But his legacy extended far beyond food and nightlife. He cared deeply for his community.
It was embedded in him, and you could feel it in his food, in his restaurant, and his demeanor when you approach him, very approachable. Just love the city of Detroit, love his people.
Now, his death is sparking renewed calls for an ordinance on after-hour establishments, limiting how late businesses can operate in neighborhood areas. New Era Detroit posted this video over the weekend.
You know, enjoy yourself, have a good time with your people, and then go home. It's that simple, go home.
And Pastor Mo agrees, saying it's time the city stepped in.
We're definitely probably going to see an ordinance come down. And we're going to make sure that from a community standpoint, we're going to make sure we have our foot on that too.
Again, so many people posting about Mike B tonight. We also spoke to his brother earlier today, but understandably, he is still trying to process all of this. We also reached out to DPD. All they could tell us is that this investigation remains ongoing and that there are no new updates. Of course, anyone with information is asked to call 1-800-SPEAK-UP. Live in Detroit, Lauren Kostick, Local 4.
A tremendous loss for the Detroit community. Okay, Lauren, we appreciate your report this evening.
So now we are here. And I want you to really sit with everything we just walked through together. Because this is the part of the story where most people close the app and move on with their day. But I am asking you not to do that. Not yet. Because there are things about this case that should genuinely be keeping you up at night. Think about the location. Suite100, a cocktail bar on Schaefer Highway. Now ask yourself this. Who knew Mike B was going to be there that night? Because in situations like this, these things rarely happen completely at random. A man of his profile, his status, his visibility in the community. People knew who he was. People knew his face. People knew his cars. People knew his spots. So the question that investigators have to be asking right now is whether this was planned or whether Mike B simply found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. And honestly, both answers are terrifying in completely different ways. If it was random, that means nobody is safe. Not even the people doing the most good in their communities. Not even the ones feeding the hungry and building the businesses and bringing people together. If it was targeted, that opens up an entirely different conversation about who wanted Mike B gone and why. And that why is the piece that nobody has answered yet. Then there are the two survivors. Still unnamed. Still silent. Still somewhere out there holding information that could potentially break this case wide open. Now put yourself in their shoes for a second. You were there. You were shot. You watched someone lose their life right next to you. Would you talk? Or would fear win? Because in a lot of these cases, fear wins. And that silence is exactly how cases like this go cold. That silence is exactly how families never get closure. That silence is exactly how killers walk free. And Mike B's family is out here right now. His wife. His children. Waking up every single morning in a house that still smells like him, still has his things, still carries his memory in every single corner. And they have no answers. None. No arrest. No suspect. No justice. Just grief. Raw, heavy, unrelenting grief. And that should make every single one of us feel something deep. Here is what I want to leave you with. Communities do not heal in silence. Justice does not come from looking away. If you are from Detroit, if you know something, if you heard something, if you saw something that night on Schaefer Highway, please contact Detroit Police Homicide or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK-UP. Mike B gave to his community his entire life. The least his community can do is give him justice. And to everyone watching this right now, I want you to ask yourself something before you scroll away. How many community builders have we already lost to senseless violence? How many more are we willing to lose before we demand real change? And what does it say about us as a society when the people doing the most good are sometimes the ones who end up most vulnerable? Those are not easy questions, but they're the right ones. If this story moved you, if it made you think, if it made you feel even a little bit of what Detroit is feeling right now, please like this video, subscribe to Midnight Crime, and click that bell icon so you never miss a case. We cover the stories that matter. The ones that deserve more than a headline. The ones that deserve to be remembered. Mike B deserves to be remembered. And we are not letting this one go.